Stu here with Raid Shadow Legends. We have 16 new champions to go through. It's going to take some time, so let's get into it really quick. So here they are. We have 4 new legendary champions. We have, what is it, 5 new epics, and we have a bunch of rares and 3 uncommon champions to look at. I've categorized them and I've wrote them down up here that I'm going to look at so we can get through this quicker than normal. So we're going to go over to Orcs really quick. We're going to kind of jump around a little bit, but it's going to be better on time. Much better on time. Here are 2 legendaries that we have for Orcs. We have this new remake, Grok. I'm not going to try to pronounce all these names, but let's get through all these characters. He's got really good, we can look at the stats here. He's got good stats. He's got increased speed in all dungeons for everybody, 24%. Very good. I like this attack on a skill 1, attack 2 times at random because I'm sure it hits pretty hard. So he's going to hit 2 people and has a chance to place the decreased speed debuff for 2 turns on a skill 1. Then also on a skill 2, it's a 4-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, fills his turn meter by 20% for each enemy under decreased speed. Obviously, if you want to get this really working to where he gets a lot of turn meter increase, you need to do somebody with an AoE decreased speed first, then have him follow up with his AoE here, get this cooldown down a little bit. I'm sure it's going to hit hard. It's based off of attack. His attack's good, his HP is decent, and his defense is really good. And then a skill 3, attack 1 enemy and steals the target's max turn meter on a 4-turn cooldown. I don't know what that means. Overflow turn meter, everything turn meter. Does that mean he's going to deplete their turn meter and then take another turn? I'm not really sure. It says steals the target's max turn meter is what it says. So maybe he gets an extra turn or whatever. I'm not sure, but it's still pretty good. It looks like he would. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, so we can get this guy moving. Pretty good legendary. I can't really complain about him. He does have an AoE, so I'm always happy with that. And it's got a way to get him an extra turn meter if you can bring in somebody with the skill with the decreased speed on before he hits for that. All right, let's get to the second legendary Orc legendary they have. She's Magic Orc. Tila is her name. She looks really cool. Look at those heels. Look at those high heels with the spikes. She is definitely ready for battle. Do not mess with her. If you see her in a bar or a pub, she's got that sword, that dripping darkness. Really cool. I like it. So her main attack, HP based as well. That's right. So there's not that many HP based champions in the game that do really good damage like Sir Nick, right? Not many at all. So she her skill 1 attacks enemy and just straight out steals a buff that they have. I love that based on her max HP. Then attacks 1 enemy, places an HP burn debuff for 2 turns, places a continuous heal buff on all her allies for 2 turns if this attack is critical, and it's on a 4-turn cooldown. Kind of wish it was on a 3-turn cooldown so she could really whip out the heals like we do with Bad L, and then she could put up a burn. I just wish that was a 3-turn cooldown. It's okay because I think she has the AoE attack, and it's based off of HP, so I'm sure it's going to hit hard. You can make it hit hard, and she's going to be crazy survivable. Plus her HP is really high, her defense is really high. Everything on her is beautiful. So attacks all enemies on her skill 3. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, and then places a leech debuff and a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. That's pretty good. It's an AoE on a 4-turn cooldown. I can't complain with that. Being that she does also HP burn and continuous heals for your team. She's pretty cool. So she's like a heavy DPSer. We could make her survivable, if I can talk right, because she's gonna have high HP. You do crit damage, no problem. She's gonna be laying down the damage, and then she does an HP burn, continuous heals, and has an AoE that does leech and then heal reduction. She's really got a lot going on for her. I would not mind pulling her at all. Very good, very good. So who do we have else on the list? We've got Barbarians. Now right now, because I haven't reset my client, Barbarians, this one Barbarian that's right here in Bannerlords, but that will be changed probably by the time you look at this game. You can tell he is not a Bannerlord, he's a Barbarian. Another unique, really cool legendary that just came out. He has really good stats, and he's got a lot of abilities. Let's see what we've got here. Attack 1 enemy, places a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack is critical. Places a 30% increased crit buff on this champion if this attack is not critical. So that's good. We've got options there. Attacks 1 enemy, skill 2, attacks 1 enemy 3 times, places an extra hit for each buff or debuff on that target. So if that target has any buffs or debuffs, you get to do additional hits. He's already attacking them 3 times. Can place up to 3 extra hits. That would be 6 hits total. And places an HP burn debuff for 2 turns and a true fear debuff for 1 turn if this attack places all 3 extra hits. So that's pretty crazy, right? It's on a 3-turn cooldown. The guy could do a lot of damage. I think he'd be a lot of fun. and a lot of content out there. That this skill alone is going to make him pretty enjoyable. Remember, with fear, if you have fear on you and you try to do a move, you have a 50% chance to lose your turn and not do a move whatsoever. If you have true fear on you, you have a 50% chance to lose your turn, not do a move, but it'll put whatever move you try to do on cooldown. So if you have this, if it's not life or death, do not do, if you have it on you, if you have true fear or fear on you, don't try to do, especially true fear, don't try to do one of your fancy moves, because it has a chance to go on cooldown and you might not do it. Just do your normal basic attack. And then he has another unique, oh yeah, we haven't gotten to a skill 3 yet. So a skill 3 doesn't do any damage, but it places an increased defense on himself for 3 turns, places fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, and places true fear debuff on for 1 turn on targets under block damage buffs, and places 30% increased speed debuff for 2 turns on targets under shield buffs. These debuffs cannot be resisted. So look, if they got block damage on, you're going to put fear on them. You're going to put true fear. That's pretty crazy. If they have a shield on them whatsoever, you're going to be putting decreased speed on them. That's really good as well. And then you're going to increase your defense for himself, and you're going to place fear debuff on everybody regardless, as long as you can apply it, right? So that's on a 3-turn cooldown. That is really strong. Also, a really cool unique passive, receives 15% less damage from legendary champions. That's something we haven't seen yet. And then increase the crit rate in arena by 30%. So he's a barbarian. He's pretty cool. What else do we have in barbarians? We have 2 epics in barbarians and 1 uncommon. So let's get to that to save some time. So the 2 epics in barbarians, which we need barbarian love, right? All the epics in barbarian are pretty bad. They don't really have a place anywhere, and I don't think these are adding to it. I don't think these are adding to it much at all. I do love the color palettes here. I think she looks really cool. So she attacks one enemy, has a chance to place a sleep debuff, has a 50% chance of granting an extra turn if the target places if you do place that sleep debuff. I like that. I like that a lot. This is really cool. Summoner's Wars has a lot of succubuses and other stuff in there that play off of sleep a lot. If you have sleep on people, they will do stuns. They will do things like this, extra turns. It's really fun. And then also attack one enemy, places a stun debuff on the target for 2 turns if the target is under sleep. It's on a 4-turn cooldown though, so it's kind of long. It's a single target, attacks one enemy. Enemies killed in this skill cannot be revived on her skill 3 on a 3-turn cooldown. That's pretty good as well, even though you're not going to bring, she's forced, you're not going to bring her into Ice Columns 20, so you can't do that. And it's all single target as well as the abilities. I don't see her being played anywhere. I don't see any of these barbarians being played anywhere. We've got a new girl as well here. And what does she do? So she attacks one enemy, has a firstborn, has a 50% chance increase attack buff on her if this attack kills an enemy. So if you kill an enemy, you get a 50% increased attack. Place a 30% increase crit rate buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy as well. Has a chance to place block debuffs buffs for 2 turns. Block buffs debuff for 2 turns, but it's only a 45% chance. But it's on her skill 1, so that's fine. Whenever it's a small chance on her skill 1, I don't mind with that. When it's a small chance on their bigger skills, 4-turn cooldowns, whatever, I do mind that. So attack one enemy on her skill 2, and then so on her skill 2, she attacks one enemy, and then she attacks all enemies with a second hit if this is critical. This hit deals 60% of the damage inflicted from the first hit. This skill will always be a normal hit. I don't know how much this is going to do, because if you look at Lua's first skill that spreads damage, it doesn't hit very hard. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. That I like that a lot, but we're going to have to see how hard this can hit. If it hits decently hard, then she's a cool champion. Could be. Except for this right here. Attacks one enemy before attacking, has a 75% chance to place a weaken debuff for 2 turns. Okay, it's on a 4-turn cooldown, so you're not going to have continuous weaken up anyways. And then on top of that, she's an epic void champion that you're going to put a 75% chance to place a 25% weaken. What sense does that make? It's on a 4-turn cooldown. So I don't get this stuff. I just don't, she's an epic, she's a void, and she's not overpowered at all with any of her moves, and then she's only got a chance on a 4-turn cooldown to place a weaken for 2 turns. Makes no sense to me. No sense to me. I don't see barbarians getting any love from any of this right here. From their barbarian legendary, I do. He's really strong. He's really cool. So high elves got some loves too. Do high elves need love? No, they don't. I don't know who over there at Polarium is placing these champions and saying, hey, we need a new high elf guy we need a new cool high elf. And if I was working there, I'd be like, do we? Because look at all this stuff, man. We don't need a new high elf. We need other factions need some love badly, really badly. And also, I'm not a big fan. I'm not trying to be, I want to be a good spirits. I want to look over these champions. I know it's diluting the champion pool a lot. So we're going to be pulling a whole lot more champions that we don't need, and we need more buffs. But I really don't like it when they're going to do a new legendary and he's going to look exactly like another legendary. That's lazy. That's super lazy. So let's look at what this legendary has. He's got good stats. He attacks one enemy, has a chance to steal one random buff from the target, has a chance again to place a block buffs debuff for 1 turn if the target has no active buffs. So that's pretty good. He attacks one enemy 3 times, ignores shields and block damage, as well as 50% of the target's defense. So that's a pretty strong 3-turn cooldown single target nuke on somebody for 3 hits, right? I like that. I like that a lot. He goes through shields, goes through block damage, ignores 50% of the target's defense, which is kind of like our boy over here who ignores 100% of the defense already. But he's actually got more utility on the Huntsman for the decreased defense. So then we have as well, attacks all enemies, has it, well actually this one is really good. I like this ability. This ability is really sweet. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance to place a stun debuff for 1 turn. And then if he does not place a stun debuff, he will decrease their turn meter by 50%. That's pretty good because if they have a block debuffs buff on, you can still decrease turn meter when they do that. So you're not going to be applying that. If it's a boss that you can actually decrease turn meter on, you're not going to be applying a stun to them, so you can actually decrease their turn meter. So that's pretty good as well. He's got a lot of uses. PvP, he's going to be fun. Doing waves, he's going to be fun. This guy's going to be a lot of good times to play with. But again, he looks just like Marksman, Royal Huntsman. I mean, exactly. So I don't know. And they don't need it. These guys, High Elves, do not need that. Let's get on to something else. So there's a rare here as well in High Elves. Oh yeah, this one I love. Look at this color palette with her lipstick, these colors on her. She looks amazing. Look at that. She looks really cool. And I love this champion. This is a void rare champion that I wish was a starter champion. She is 100 times better than Shaman. The Shaman that they give you in the start of the game, right? Look at her. She's got good HP, good defense, good speed, good everything. Attacks one enemy, has a chance to place a decreased attack for 2 turns. It's only 25%. That's fine. No problem. And that's her skill 1. Skill 2 is remove all debuffs from all allies, then place 15% continuous heal buff on them for 2 turns. So on a 3-turn cooldown, for 2 turns, she will give you the continuous heal buff, 15%, the 50% one, and then as well remove all debuffs from all your allies. That is super, super strong. Revive an ally on her skill 3, 30% HP, fills their turn meter by 30% on a 5-turn cooldown. This should be a starting champion. I hope they do. I hope they make this. You know how they have where you can buy like a $5 champion in the beginning of the game? They need to put this. I wish this would make the game really enjoyable for new players that come in to go with their champions, or replace Shaman, take Shaman out and put this girl in. What they should have done is rebalance Shaman and made her exactly like this. This is the new epic that they give you for Shaman would have been, because you can take this girl to 60. This girl can do a lot at 60. Look at her. She removes debuffs from all allies and then gives you the 15% continuous heal for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. You can use her in ice golems. You can use her anywhere you want to. It doesn't matter where you take her into. Even though this is the lower version of the decreased attack, still great. And then she can revive somebody. I mean, man, that is a good rare. That is a good rare. I like her a lot. So she was High Elves. Okay, Undead have 2 epic and 1 rare. Let's get over to those. This video is already going to be long. I know it's going to be long. Okay, Undead. So we have 2 here. The Defiled Sinner. This one's pretty cool. Attack one enemy, has a chance to place the decreased defense 60%, which is very good, for 2 turns before attacking. I like that a lot. But he also, if there's 5 or more enemies alive, does the following attack instead. Attacks all enemies, placing a 25% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns before attacking. That screams spiders, right? As well as waves. 5 champions, 5 or more can be waves. You can't do it in campaign because there's only 4 in campaign. But if there aren't that many champions, he's still, like on a boss, not the spider boss, but a regular boss, he'll try to do decreased defense of 60%. Let's go on to his other skills before I tell you my gripe with him. He has a skill that is based off of enemy max HP on a 3-turn cooldown. Attacks one enemy. This attack then attacks all enemies, inflicting damage equal to 15% of their max HP if the target kills an enemy. This second hit cannot be critical. Okay, that's fine. Just the fact that it's based off of enemy max HP on a 3-turn cooldown is amazing for spiders, right? But he's force, spiders 20 spirit. They always do this. Attacks all enemies, damage increased by 10% for each enemy alive. Stacks up to 100%. So he attacks all enemies and can do a crazy amount of damage if there's a lot of enemies alive. This should have been, honestly, This guy is 100 times better than Dark Aethel, and Dark Aethel should have been somebody like this. If this was Dark Aethel, you would see her getting some play, because of course she has the decreased defense, of course, on her skill 1, but this guy does more than that, right? And then, you know, he has an attack based off of enemy max HP. The problem is, when you fight somebody that you're weak to, even without the weaken hit, you do a crazy amount less damage. I can't remember how much it is, 30% less damage. And then when you do a weak hit, you do like a further 20%. It's 50% total. So if you do a weak hit, you do 50% less damage to that enemy, right? The force would do to spirit, which is crazy. That's why you don't see these people being played in Spiders 20. This guy screams Spiders 20. And you don't want to level this guy to 60 just to do Spiders 1 through 19. That doesn't make any sense. You're not going to do that. It's too hard to do resources and everything else. So they keep doing this. Steel Boyer, Husk, anybody else they come out with this. I've seen other ones as well. They keep doing this. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways, he's a guy that would be fantastic for Spiders 20. We're not going to get to see him played. I mean, he would be just like so much fun. So much fun. He's not going to replace Royal Guard and Cold Hearts and all that kind of stuff. But this guy would be a tremendous amount of fun. I'm going to stop talking about it. We're going to go on to the next one. He's dead to me now. So we got this new mage guy that looks like Gorgrab. Based on attack, has a chance to do a decreased speed debuff, but then he just has a lot of buffs. Places block debuffs, only for 1 turn though, and then places increased crit and then increased defense on all your allies. It's on a 3-turn cooldown though. All the increased defense from 60% is for 2 turns, so that's good. 2 turn on a 3 turn is always great. You're going to have it up very often. And then removes all debuffs from all allies, then heals all allies by 10% of them. This is great. This is great for dragons, right? Because you're going to block debuffs here. You're going to remove debuffs and heal a lot of people. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. So, I mean, he'll see some play. I think he's decent. He could do some stuff out there. So, who else do we have? So, that is that. We have Undead. Oh, Undead has 1 rare. Sorry. Losing track there. We have this Ghoulish Ranger. He attacks 1 enemy and he places a decreased accuracy, extra attack under... Place an extra attack if they are under decreased accuracy, and then attacks 1 enemy, has a chance to place leech, attacks 3 times at random, has a 50% chance to place an HP debuff for 2 turns. It's on a 4-turn cooldown though, so once you have it maxed out, 4-turn cooldown, attacks 3 at random and has a chance to do this. Maybe he could find somewhere to do it. I don't know. I'm not too thrilled with him, but at least it's different, right? It's different than what we normally see. So dwarves have an epic and a rare. Let's see what they've got. We've got this new female dwarf. I really like this red-haired one. I like this picture a lot. She looks really cool. She has the same body type. It's the same exact as the rest, but her hair really does it for her. Her face, everything else looks really neat. She has really, really low defense, though. Everything else is great about her, like really great, but low defense. And she's based off of attack. That's fine, because she attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit ignores 30% of the target's defense and places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is 20% of the damage inflicted. That's on her skill 1. That's pretty strong. Very, very strong. Because you're ignoring some of the defense. You're getting a shield on her to cover her. Even though her defense isn't high, that's fine. And it's based off of the damage she's doing, so that is great. Also, her skill 2 here is on a 4-turn cooldown. Attacks 1 enemy, ignores 50% of the target's defense when attacking under a shield buff, which she's going to have up all the time because of her skill 1. And this one right here. Heals his champion by 50% of the damage inflicted. Places a shield buff on this champion equal to any surplus heal for 3 turns. That's crazy. Heals his champion by 50% of the damage inflicted, and she gets a shield for the surplus heal on a 4-turn cooldown. And then it gets even better. Her skill 3 attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Each hit ignores 25% of the target's defense and grants an extra turn if this champion has full HP after using the skill. So she could have lifesteal gear on, bam, use this, get full, and then take another turn. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. So if you're taking another turn, that's really a 2-turn cooldown, and she's using all these other abilities. She looks fun. This is one of the newer champions besides the Barbarian that came out. The legendary Barbarian is very cool. She's very cool, and the Void Healer, the new rare Void Healer, is very cool. So I would like to get her. I would really like to get this girl and try her out and have some fun with her. Gala long braids. Yeah, Gala long braids. She is fun. And then they have a rare over here as well. I don't think this rare is special. He just attacks 1 enemy based off of attack. Attacks 1 enemy, cannot be revived. Places a block buff on this champion for 2 turns. And then attack 1 enemy, damage increased by 50% if the target has no active buffs. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. The skill 2 is on a 3-turn cooldown. And that's it. I mean, in his stats or whatever they are. So for a rare, I don't really see a lot of uses for that. And then we have Ogren. We have a rare, and we're almost done. Let's go over to Ogren Tribes and see what we have. We have Ogren Tribe. We have a rare here that looks like the Occult Roller rare. He has a chance to remove 1 random buff. He has the chance to steal 2 random buffs and then place an extra hit if you steal something. And then he attacks one enemy damage increased by 20% if the target has no active buffs. And that's it. So I don't really see it. Like, God, his HP, the HP is so low, really, really low. And then we have uncommons now. So we have a dark elf, a demon spawn, and a dark elf. Let's look at these. One of these looked, no, they didn't look good. They didn't look good. She looks cool because she's a new model, right? Having this face on her like that. But all she's doing is has a 5% chance to place a decreased attack of 25% and then heals an ally by 10% of their max HP on a 3-turn cooldown for whatever else. If somebody started playing the game and they needed like a little support healer, they could use her, no problem. And then what else do we have left? Dark Elf, Dark Elf. Dark Elf, oh yeah, this one was kind of funny because it's a common. Nobody levels a common anyways. And then it attacks one enemy, has a chance to place the 2.5% poison debuff for 2 turns. If this was a higher percentage chance to use, would it really matter? I don't think so. I mean, if this was a 50% chance to place this, if this was a 100% chance to place this, so every turn she could have the potential to place a 2.5% poison, she's still, look at her HP, look at her defense. I mean, I don't know. It's a common. I mean, what do we do? Why are they coming out with comments? So the takeaway from all this is, we've diluted our champion pool further. Yes, every time. They've been coming out with a lot of champions lately, right? It's exciting. I like it. I like seeing new champions. It's very cool. But they've been coming out with a lot, and they really need to go back. And they've been balancing those. Even the new champions they come out with, they come back and have to rebalance because they're not useful as well. A lot of these aren't useful. They just aren't. I think the Barbarian, I'm looking up here because I think the Barbarian Legendary that isn't in the right place right now, he will be when you log on. Trust me. This guy is pretty sweet, right? I think the High Elf guy is pretty decent, legendary. I think the Orc female one. The Orc female one is really, really cool, even though I'm not in the right place. Where is she? This Orc female is a very, very cool, based off of HP, and does a lot of really cool stuff. And then I love the High Elf healer, the rare healer reviver that everybody should have, especially when they start playing the game. This is gold right here. That is golden. You should get her. And then there was another one. Oh, the dwarf. The dwarf that we just went over, the female dwarf that we just saw. So let me know your favorite ones. What are your favorite ones out of all these? I want to play her a lot. She looks really cool. She looks like a fun dwarf. She even looks better than some of the legendaries out there because she has some really cool survivability and turns, take an extra turn, built into everything that she does. She almost could have been super powerful if they would have made her legendary and beefed up her stats. She would have been really cool. And she's void, so you can't beat that being void. What is your favorite champion that you see coming out? I want to see them go back and really start, buffing up all these other champions. And why did High Elves get somebody when somebody like, I don't know, Ogren Tribes or anybody else needs new people, right? They need new people. We need a lot of epic love out of there. I just did a video recently about that, about epics, and I talked about all the epics out there. Even Barbarians, all these epics right here are pretty useless. I mean, they really are. They're not very good at all. And that's a lot of epics. So we kind of need to go back, and we really need to do a full sweep on a whole bunch of champions out here, make them better, as well as coming out with these new champions, because we are really diluting the champion pool. They've been coming out with champions like crazy. Over the last 2 months, we've been just bam, 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 new champions, new faction, new champions. So it's been a lot. It's been a really lot. Let me know your thoughts. How do you like these new champions? What are you excited to pull? I wish you all the best of luck if you do pull this weekend, or if you're pulling tonight or whatever. And I'll see you all in a video soon. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your support.